South. Yeah, this is non-alcoholic. We've never interviewed you at all, so we thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of get to know you a bit and kind of have like a feel of what a Gautam Menon interview is all about.
Actually, it's interesting you're saying that because I keep thinking you'll not call me for any more interviews. We've done so many. And I'm sure the team will say, boring. But then if you're still calling me, that means there's something still going on as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I'm happy about
so
it.
This is good. But I really had this in mind, because they said they were going to give us an Italian meal, right? So I'm thinking that I will ask you, like they'll come and ask us white or red or something like that. That typical thing, because I know only two wines, white or red. I have nothing, no other, like I'm not like this wine connoisseur or something like that. So then I thought you'd say, no, I actually prefer gin. And then I wanted to say with a flourish, Gautam, Jinnai Tandi Varuvaya.
Oh gosh, you really worked on this.
I really worked on this. I had to tell you this, you this.
Settle for lemongrass.
Whatever this is. This is lemongrass, right?
Yeah. Today we had a wonderful opportunity to host Mr. Bharadwaj and Mr. Gautam Menon over a 4-course Italian lunch. We had got some fantastic ingredients. We got some nice portobello mushrooms. We also had fresh bocconcini cheese. We decided to do a minestrone with a twist. So we had a nice like a caprese salad, and the minestrone soup was poured on top. For the main course, we had done like a stuffed chicken with artichokes, and that went well with the truffle cream sauce. The last part was the chocolate marquis with hazelnuts and a little coin through liquor in it.
Just reminded, we're kind of pretty much the same age. So grew up in, I grew up in Madras in the 70s, 80s, whatever. And for us, hotel thing was not a thing at all. It was like maybe once or twice a year, if somebody felt sorry for you, they would take you to like a thing. Because the general thing would be, why go outside when you can make it at home? Used to be the general logic, right? So I don't even remember the first time like I went to a 5-star hotel. It was like a...
We didn't go. We only used to go to these joints, like small joints, small restaurants.
Like all this,
the dynasties and the cake shop of the Taj
Wang's
and all
Kitchen.
that. Wang's Kitchen, places like that.
Yeah.
Cakewalk on Numambakam used to be like a joint where even that was a little aspirational. I had to take money from dad and then take your girl out there and all that stuff. All that happened.
And then you had to the big thing was having a veg puff. I'd be like, it was, I don't know, today kids know what a big deal veg puff was. Was like
so since you're talking about, I remember my uncle, I think he studied here, his medicine, and he went abroad and he worked and all that. And he came down with his wife, my aunt, and he decided he'll take us out for dinner. And he picked the Taj, and we went. So it's my first outing at a 5-star restaurant. And
how old are you roughly?
13, 14, and everybody's very excited. And when the check finally came in, everybody was shocked, including him. And we still joke about it, in a good way, I'm saying. We never expected it to be, those 5 digits, so we were all very shocked. And I still remember that, and you're very right. We never went to, a place like this and sat and ate and all that stuff.
Yeah, and actually even eating out was such a thing. And today we're like casually having all these for the things, and I mean they prepared a menu for us.
If you ask me, I always pick very home food wherever I go.
Right.
Like South Indian, I like to eat a little bit of rice and some gravy and a meat or something like that. These days it's a little more healthier, so there's a lot of health.
You really have, because from the times we talked during Vinay Tandi or something like that, you've really become this model of fitness.
I like where this is going. Thank you.
No, really, I'm just are you on some? Because Vetri was like, one day he was sitting me down and like, because I have this pandemic weight on me, and it's so obvious on camera, like if the camera adds 10 pounds, it's adding 20 pounds to me. So it's...
Vetri is very conscious about what he's eating.
And he has this big fat book which you were showing me about keto, when ketosis begins. Correct. And something like that, and how, if he has biryani or something, he has to wait for 2 days for his body to get back into ketosis. And I'm like, oh my God, this is slightly...
he's really out there with that. I'm not so much into it. I like to eat what I like to eat. I feel good about it. But quantities have become much lesser. And there's a lot more protein-based, things that I eat, and not so much of carbs.
So you use one of those apps?
No, I don't do all that. I know people do all that, but I don't. I like to eat, but I eat very minimal these days. And I try and eat early. I try and finish my dinner by 7 o'clock. I try to a large extent. Sometimes it works out.
Like even when you're on shoot.
Yeah. So even if I'm outside somewhere, I try and order something which is healthy, which comes in by 7, and I finish eating.
Right.
And people at home make sure that happens also.
Right.
I have somebody who helps me work out, and there's some training that happens every day. So it's been going on for about 4-5 years now. It's also because I didn't want to take any more medicines for my diabetes. So
Like, do you drink?
no, I don't.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's never been
Yeah,
a
never
thing.
been an
That's a
issue,
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So this is the first course.
Okay, looks good.
So you told me about the shock that you got when you got the bill, right?
Yeah.
So for me, my first 5-star experience was the shock when I saw the effing quantity,
Okay.
because I was like, the plate was this size, and the food was like somewhere like right here,
Yeah.
and I was like, where's the rest of the food? I mean, I'm seeing more plate than food, and you've been going to these places where like a plate is basically stacked with food,
Yeah.
right? It's like that's what you go to.
Yeah, but should we be talking this while eating at a 5-star restaurant?
No, but that's the part of the fun of it, right?
Okay,
It's like I don't know.
So
anyway, cheers.
bon appetit.
You're acting in Vidudalai, so
Yes.
like,
That's only for Vetrimaran. I mean, he called me and he said, I didn't ask him any questions. I just went and I like to be directed by him. It was nice.
Is your part in that over, or
I don't think the film is anybody's part in that film is over till the film releases, which is
okay,
Vetri's words
which is
and not
how he
mine.
works. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
What was this one like? Like your
I like this.
you know
It tastes
this,
really good.
this yeah, this is very good soup. This Navarosa experience, like
Firstly, it was Mani sir's initiative, Mani sir and Jayendra.
right.
So I wanted to be a part of that. Somewhere, associate myself with him. I only saw it like that. I envisioned interactions and discussions and phone calls and messages and everything. Some of that happened. So I straight away said yes. It is also for a very beautiful cause. I mean, none of us took any remuneration working on the project.
Right.
And we were given this idea of picking an emotion to work around and also pick the actors and crew and everything. And I think I got one of the first calls, I think, not that that's my claim to this whole thing, but I'm just saying I got one of the first calls from Jayendra saying, would you like to be a part of this? And I said I will try and get Surya straight away. And I narrated something to Surya in about 10 to 15 days. He liked it and I explained this is what it's all about. I think once that happened, everybody else's film also happened very organically. I think once they knew there was Surya who was getting in, and then there was Vijay Sethupathi and all that. So all the other stories fell in place.
Right.
It was taken to Netflix, and the rest is history actually, because the entire proceedings is given away or given in a good way to the film industry and the workers and everything. So.
Right. How long is the film? Like all 9 episodes put together?
Yeah, I think they didn't put a cap on the exact length of every film. Like my film is close to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. The other films are all between 30 and 40 minutes, I think. Yeah.
So we're going to spend one whole day watching this.
Yeah, imagine 9 films at 35 minutes at least, so 270 minutes of material, yeah. So you've always been vegetarian or what, Barry?
No, actually there was a big period where I was eating all kinds of stuff. But like everybody who was converted by one of those documentaries, I saw a bunch of them and something just changed. I actually tried going vegan, the other extreme.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out, because vegan would mean no milk would mean no ice cream, and my favorite, one of my favorite comfort foods is ice cream.
Oh, really? So now I know what to get you when I like one of your interviews.
So, like even when I eat eggs now, like I have those, eggs where the chicken are allowed to graze on, like
Okay.
go outside, and they're not cooped up chickens,
So where do you get your eggs?
Yeah, any supermarket.
Okay.
Yeah, you get them. It's just farm whatever eggs. This is
So next time I see a nice review of yours, I'll send you a carton of ice cream.
and eggs. This is
Yeah, and-
like I was like, if you had the soup when I had reviewed Acham with the Madamayada, would you have thrown it on my face?
I don't care about these
No,
things.
but
Yeah, yeah.
I think you took that one a little personally.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did we correspond at that point?
Yeah, you were like a little upset about that, and I was like, I think.
I texted you or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Must have been an off day, trust me. Acham Enbadu Madaveda was demonetization. It released like a day after.
Right.
It almost didn't release at all because of that.
Right.
You know, and so maybe I was a little really gone at that point. I don't think any other film I've had.
No. You've
Yeah.
never had issues. In
Yeah.
fact, after Pachekili, I remember you called to ask for like what you thought and all that kind of stuff. So it's been thing. But I think Acham Enbadu was one of those like wow, okay, it's like sometimes I wonder if like people ask if would you have like food critic would have interested you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
I mean, I can't be fake about it. I'm not saying they are, but I would be eating and telling you what exactly I feel.
So you've got a good palate, like
absolutely, absolutely.
you can tell things like
I can.
this is missing and
Yes, I can, absolutely.
really,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I think I watched my mom cook extensively and it's really tasty food at home, and I'm a foodie, so I think I can give you like the finer details of what's working.
So tell me,
what's
what
not.
is foodie? Foodie is basically you have to like trying out a lot of food. Is that what foodie is?
No, not just that. So let's say you go to Tiruchendur and you're filming there, you look to find out what the
Local specialty
is.
Okay.
You go look for it. Like if I go to Kerala, I always go looking for puttu and kadla in the morning, parampuri, and I like to eat in a particular place, my fish curry, those small fish and all that stuff,
Right.
So and a nice sadhya I love to eat.
But you'd get that at home, right?
You get that at home, but then at home also you try and eat something interesting and very good all the time.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. So that's a
There are
food.
people who don't care. Even if some people, I've heard them saying that if you give me a capsule which will take care of the food for that day, I'm happy with that. But for me, I can't think like that. There has to be something that I like to eat and I should feel good about it. And mostly, this is what I do. Whatever I eat, I feel good about it.
Right.
I don't think, oh my God, why didn't I eat? So if I'm on a diet. Diet also, like it's a diet like I was telling you, I try to eat healthy.
like it's more
but
like-
if there's a chocolate cake that this gentleman is going to give me in a bit, I will eat it and feel good about it, I'm saying.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, you can. Yeah.
So basically, being a foodie means being able to.
Appreciate food, I think.
That's all.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And
And
lots
also
of
being
people-
adventurous about.
Yeah, and lots of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That term has always been a little because everybody uses it in all kinds
Yeah, I
of
know
ways.
that.
It's
I know
like
that. I'm only talking about my definition of that.
Right,
and what,
right.
Okay.
The whole concept of having a meal. See, I'm really intense when I'm conducting an interview, right? It's like I'm really trying to focus. So I'm like everything that's coming out of your mouth is like making its way into my processes. Then I have a list of questions and I'm trying to say, okay, so now I have to ask this question next because this is going to go there, and there's all these mental algorithms happening. So for me to relax like this is like this very rare opportunity. It's just nice to have a chat about nothing, about food, which
Yeah.
is not nothing,
Yeah,
but at least
absolutely.
like
I don't think
like
so. I don't think
a-
it's nothing at all.
yeah, because it's also
What goes in defines your life completely, I feel, because your body and the way you are, it's all about what you've been eating over the past 30 years, which I realize now and over the past 5 years maybe.
What's that?
What you've eaten from the time you were like 3 or 4, or absolutely as from the time you're born itself. You're 48, 49 now, and what you've eaten over the past 20 years has defined and shaped your body and what's inside you to a large extent.
I mean, are you talking about physically, or are you talking about like
Everywhere,
in a way,
everywhere,
like
everywhere, physically,
even the way you think and
yeah,
all that?
everything I feel.
How's that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You see, there are people who will not eat anything outside when they go to a particular restaurant. They're finicky because they've been brought up a certain way. They've eaten only a certain kind of food.
Yeah.
I can eat anywhere and everywhere. The aesthetic, not necessary. I can eat anything and everywhere. I think that's the way we've been brought up. I feel that food conditions you to sort of be in that. Like I can step out of a train and go pick up one parampuri from a station and eat it, and figure out if it works for me or not.
Now that you are who you are, won't you get mobbed and all?
That's never stopped me.
Okay.
Now, if I'm going to say yes, I get mobbed, that looks like I'm going to talk about myself in that way. But
you
I
are-
do get,
no, but
I do
you're a
get
known
noticed.
face, you
People
did
come
not
and
just
take
pick- yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
They come and talk. They tell you this worked, that worked. My love story is defined by your films.
And then
all that day.
the picture of you eating in that restaurant will go up on the wall of the restaurant.
It'll go up.
Yeah.
It'll go up. They take it also for
It
that
happens a
purpose.
lot everywhere, yeah.
And while we're in the middle of filming or somewhere traveling and all that, there are people who come and take selfies. I just request saying, don't put it online. And most of the time, they say yes, and it's not come up or anything.
You don't want to
that.
be like,
Yeah, that too.
right.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to think of Gautam Menon moments involving food. in his films.
I think in every film, if you notice, from Minnale, every film.
But I'm remembering more things like coffee shops and all that kind of stuff.
No,
like,
no,
have you had
Maddie
films where
and
people-
Reema said in a restaurant where he has to eat
yeah,
some
yeah,
chicken.
Yeah.
And then Surya and Jyotika also meet in a restaurant. It's not a coffee shop.
It's not,
clearly.
it's a restaurant. Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of there are coffee shops, but there are restaurant moments also.
Right.
Even Needhani and Punasadam, Jiva, Samantha, they're all sitting around in one Yela Sapadu,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
eating.
yeah,
And she
yeah.
says we could have gone to a quieter place. He says, I thought you like to eat here, so they have a little argument there. and all that stuff,
Yeah. And you know, just again for the record, I really like that movie very much.
Okay, yeah.
It's Needhani is one of my and I mean, of course I love Vinay Thandi like most other people do, like many other people do. It's like in fact Darshini, who arranged this for us, she was telling me that she, in her previous job, she had a colleague who used to watch it every night.
Vinay Thandi. Okay.
I was strangely touched and also scared because because touched because wow, that art has touched him so much. I'm scared because obviously, every night he's spending 3 hours watching Vinay Thandi. Oh my God, I want to run into you. So, the other thing that people look at is like, when you begin to earn some money and then go out for a big meal, when was that the first time for you?
So I think when I joined Rajiv sir to work as an AD on Minsara Kanavu, and before that it was just ad films and
That was your first job, right?
I did a little bit of selling AutoCAD software for a division of Wipro.
Right.
6 months marketing. You have to go meet a lot of architects and architectural kind of people
Right.
to sell the software to them. And I didn't do that well at all. Like I would just go and make a few calls. The rest of the day I'd be in some theatre or other watching films. And I kept telling my folks at home that this is not what I want to do, but I'm just there till I find, and they were very thing about it. They were very okay about it. Once and my sister started earning and working much before me, so she took off a lot of pressure off my shoulder, and mom was also working. So that pressure of, handing over money at home, making sure everybody's okay was not there so much because my sister was taking care of all that,
Right.
and my mother herself.
Right.
So they were huge inspiration because my mother and sister were actually running the show at home, and we'd made dad retire voluntarily and all that stuff. So the Rajiv Menon stint is when was first I made it now sort of thing, and I remember going out for dinner. We had this place in Ananagar called Cake Shop of the Taj.
Right.
And that was a little aspirational sort of a place, it was nice. And then we always go to one dynasty in Ananagar, which is like Chinese food. That's like home food, my mom loves to go there and eat. I even know what kind of dishes she'll order.
Yeah.
There'll be an American chop suey and a sweet and sour chicken, which she still orders.
I love American chop
Yeah,
suey.
so
That's
my mother
a
will like you for
crazy
saying
thing
that,
that I think only Indians have it.
It's only in Indian
Yeah,
preparation.
I don't think it's actually even Chinese food, but I love American chop suey.
So I remember going to these places and spending money to eat with the family, a little treat and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
There was me and my sister and above our flat were like these two really good friends of ours, two girls. So we used to go out like once in a while. Eden was a big thing, Besanagar,
Yeah.
right? It was like it had just come up. I think late 80s, early 90s,
Early
something
90s must be,
something
yeah.
like something like that.
Yeah.
So it was this perfect. It was not too posh, not too expensive, but nice kind of where if you felt like going for a birthday, you could go,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And one thing that I particularly remember is that I used to like the two elder ones. We used to be the ones in charge of the paying, obviously.
Okay.
So they used to be on slide under the thing, like okay, how much? Okay, you're ordering this? Oh, okay. Just how much
Nice.
you have.
Sweet.
So it's like a thing. So and one thing that always used to annoy me is my sister has to end her meal with a pulao for some reason.
Okay.
And she would have 1 spoon of pulao, but the whole thing would cost like some, I don't know, $80, $90, $100, whatever at that time. And I'm like, for the 1 spoon of pulao, I'm shelling out some 80
That's
bucks.
just 1 spoon she'd order pulao. Is it?
Yeah, she had to finish that meal
Wow.
with a pulao,
Okay,
something
nice.
like that. So these are like what, very very strong memories. I think most people, when you ask them about food, they have very strong memories about food,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
like going to somebody's place, and there's always somebody in the family known for one item. Like you
Yeah.
know, you go to X person's house, ask them to make
Correct.
that particular,
Yeah.
you know, like thing that you have any particular.
Yeah,
Right.
my mom, I mean, she cooks extensively, like a nice variety. So she's known for the biryani she makes on Sundays. It's like
Okay.
an event.
Yeah.
Friends who come over and have lunch. We send off some packets
Right.
to a few people and all that. And that's still going on in a big way. So
I know shooting meals are like taken care of by you know, like catering units, right?
yeah,
But
but it's fixed by us. We fix it.
Okay, so you kind of make sure that you get the good guys.
Yeah.
Are there like even there are there people who are very good among the catering guys?
Yeah, there are people who are good and people who are okay. And it's also about how much money you can spend for food, which is decided just before we go into shoot and all that.
Right.
And we get these people and we also decide what the menu could be, what people can eat.
Who decides?
We decide that.
You.
Yeah, as
You,
in-
Gautam Menon.
Yeah, we
In the
decide
middle
that.
of the shoot, you're going to say, today I want idiyappam or whatever.
Yeah, of course. And there is a team that will come and ask also, இன்னைக்கு என்ன வேணும் உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது ஸ்பெஷலாக ஏதாவது வாங்கணுமா and all that stuff. So I'll say, yeah, today let's do biryani for everybody. Tomorrow let's make one fish curry for, you know, these 10 people. All the time.
Wow.
All the time, yeah.
So you have
But
the
you can put
headspace
that
for
under
that.
the foodie thing if you want.
Yeah, but it's very nice. And like
Yeah.
in the middle of the 1001 things going on.
Yeah, but that's what you're supposed to do also, right? You have to handle the production, keep in mind what money is being spent, work a script, get the actors in, get the vibe right, make sure they're also okay.
Right.
So there's a team that works constantly for all this.
Right.
And things are checked with you at every point, you know.
Yeah. You know, actually, there's this nice quote that I've seen, which is that because somebody had questioned the value of art.
Okay.
You know, like what is the real value of art? Because it's like it's just something that's hanging on a wall or something like that. What are you really getting out of it? If it vanished from Earth, what would you really use?
Okay.
And somebody had said, money is what you live with, but art is what you live for. And I really something like it seemed to me that like you know and art I would say would bring in like things like this, like food, because like you say, technically speaking, you can just live with rice and some very basic stuff. Like all the money that you earn, if you had to kind of say I don't care about food, that would bother you, right? I mean, like
it
you
would
like
bother me. So even in a very small place, you know, down south somewhere, a small place, I would like to go and eat there, and I also talk to them to figure out how they made it. So it might not look clean and aesthetic and all that,
Right.
but then when you see them making it, right, and they believe in it completely, and you know you're not going to feel sick after you eat there because of the way they make it. And they come and talk to you, and even recently 3 days ago I was in Tiruchendur, one smallish joint. It's called some nightclub because it starts only in the evening.
wow.
But it's a roadside hole, literally a hole in the wall sort of a joint. And they make this really tasty food, of course a lot of non-veg and all that, but if you
Right.
tell them to keep the oil less, if you tell them to add a little less spice in it, they do it accordingly to what you want, you know. So
Okay.
it was really interesting, I'm saying. And he tells you, the guy who took me there tells you, இங்கே சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு அந்த ஹார்ட் பர்ன்லாம் இருக்காது சார், அங்கே போனால் உங்களுக்கு அது இருக்கும். And he was right about what I felt. Because the previous day we ate from another place, and I know Rajiv and a few other people were saying, "Machan, you know, not feeling too good and all that."
Is it like because of the oil?
The
or something?
oil and the spice and all that. And this place didn't, similar kind of food, but so I realized this guy's got a point about it, and people know these things. I'm saying, yeah.
At home, are you like you eat? I eat from my spoon, or I eat with my hand. What are you?
I prefer to eat by hand.
Hmm?
Yeah. Like I know, in an appropriate sort of a situation, biryani, they give you a fork. No, I can't do that. I tell them I'm not going to eat with the fork. I put it aside, and people who know me know that. I like to put my hands in and eat.
Is there an all-time best meal that you've had?
I've had.
Like, can you remember one that's like of all the meals that I've had, that's something that I really remember.
So the problem is that happens a lot. That's happened a lot of times at home for Onam and Vishu, and for Deepavali, and for Pongal. There's always a spread, which mum personally makes. Like for Onam and Vishu, where my dad's Malayali, mum is Tamil, but she lived in Kerala with them for like 3-4 years
Right,
before they moved to Chennai. So she learned, you know, the Kerala food and the sadhya and how, you know, things are made and all that. So there's like almost like 12, 13 dishes or on your ella, on your leaf, and she makes them, and it's very tasty. So my first memory of food is that only, actually, for, you know, for a very long time. And even now when you ask me, I go back to the previous Vishu or the Onam that my mom made that sadhya, or for Deepavali the dosa and the mutton curries that she makes, you know. So I can't get beyond that.
Right.
If you ask me to get beyond that, then I can talk about traveling and eating at a few places abroad, really good food. Like I like to eat in the simplest of Olive Gardens abroad where there's really good Italian food to the bigger, fancier places. Down south, if I go like in Vinithandi, you see Ganesh talking about puttu and kadala. That's because I'm always looking for puttu and kadala. I love that, and it's a breakfast thing for me.
Right.
And people in my unit, I know, make fun. Oh, puttu kadala saru poitana, they'll say. I'll go looking for it everywhere. A small hole in the wall joint, I'll sit and eat there.
Right.
So these are the first things that come to my mind. I like my chapati and beef fry.
This is actually where I'm in complete contrast with you because, I'm one of those people who likes to eat a good quantity of 1 or 2 items rather than these 13, 14 things. I always get like a little angsty when there are like this. I have somebody puts an yella and puts
it's
all
like
these
when you go
things.
to a wedding, right? You have to.
Yeah. So I always I have to ask them, what is that? Then I'll make a mental calculation. Is like, okay, what's coming next? What's coming next? So it's like because I want to have like a good quantity of the 1 or 2 things that I like rather than smaller quantities of many things.
Okay.
Which may be the reason that you're talking about earlier, which is like fitness, which is like have lesser amounts of stuff that you like.
That's how it's supposed to work. Small quantities across the day. 7 or 8 meals is very good apparently.
You do that?
We try. It doesn't work out always. So these days what I do is a very good breakfast. Lunch on time by around 1 o'clock. Something around 4:30. By 7 my dinner is done.
So that's 4 meals.
Yeah. And I've been doing that consistently for like some 2-3 years now.
Right.
At home it's very easy to eat by 7:30. Just while filming and all happens, I make sure there are calls made and food has to be delivered and all that. So those are the issues. But yeah, we try and do that.
Oh.
And I know people get offended sometimes when it's 9:30 and food is being served and nee saapidunga and I already ate and they, what do you mean eat again? So sometimes people don't get there also.
Right.
My mom also gets upset when I tell her I've already eaten at 7. But you're at home now, so eat now, she'll say. I said, Mama, I already ate outside.
One thing that's like for people who like to there are some things that when you get an article or something like that you have to read, right?
Yeah.
For me it's food articles. It's like why almonds are healthy for you or some crap like that. It's like I would have read the same thing some 75 times, but it'll still come to my inbox and I'd be like, oh, almonds are healthy because it has X something, it has Y something. So I'm very fascinated by what what food can kind of do for you. There's like
I read the reviews about the restaurants also.
Yeah.
I don't miss any. Like I keep looking for some write-ups about some new restaurant or some food being served somewhere. Sometimes some of these articles have food that's in a place that's very famous and has been there for so many years. Small samosas. One Roypuram, there's a place where you get mango ice cream. Kuni Krishnan's, I think it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. I read up an article about it in the paper, then I asked Preeti. Preeti used to live, my wife, she used to live in Roypuram as a child, like maybe till about 10. And she remembers going to the store. So I said, let's go, and we sort of, made a beeline for that store and we found that mango ice cream and it's tasty stuff through the day. And through the year. When
you go into a project like Navarasa, you've been doing a bit of the short film thing recently, right? It's like
I still make the music videos that I put out, right? So I put that also under the short film thing.
Right. So
one of the first guys to do it, and the only guy, people even ask me why you're doing it, what's going to come from this. Sometimes it's not about what's going to come, but it's also about just putting something out because you feel that you want to put something out. The story might work, or this 2-minute song in a story form might work, and also I put the songs out, and it's come too.
Yeah, I know it's become quite a big thing, and it's like
it's becoming big now actually.
So
Independent music.
What would you say if somebody asks you to? Vijay Sethupathi is now hosting a cookery show. What would you do if somebody asks you to do the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what Vijay Sethupathi has done for sure. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still a little, conscious about myself, I think. So that might be the only reason why I might not do it.
Right.
Like hosting a show. Honestly, I don't think I deserve to be out there in that way. And then even if so, will I be easy and casual about it? I don't know. If you ask me to set up a talk session with you, or can we talk to Mani sir, I would jump into it because I'm also learning. There's something there for me. But this, I don't know. So I need to, like Vetrimaran's film, I really wanted to be in that zone.
Yeah.
I wanted to be directed by him, also to see how he works. I like his work. Anwar Rashid, when he called me for Trans, there was no way I was going to say no, because I've heard so much about the way he works, and Namal Nirad was a cinematographer and all that. Rasul Pokutti was doing sound. And I had to speak Malayalam lines. I don't speak Malayalam fluently. And it was live sound, it was sync sound, right? So all this was like a boy going to school for me, and learning and looking at something new. It was like playing at, Ananagar grounds and then asked to go and play at Lords. It was like that for me, So I wanted to be in that scenario. So will I want to be in this scenario? I don't know. Although I have no problems with people doing that.
At one point, I used to be fascinated by, of course now I try not to go to social media very often, except to like retweet stuff and all that. But at one point, Facebook used to have this cake videos, where these people used to make like these insane, as in like amazing cakes shaped like anything. You would look at it and like you would think that it's a camera or like it's a bottle of wine or whatever it is, but it's actually a cake. You can cut it and it's actually a cake. You have that, and for some reason I got addicted to that. And like they were making cakes shaped like actors and actresses and they would show this in like in a montage kind of way, right? So for some reason I just remember that phase where like there was over a couple of weeks when I would find it very relaxing. That's the strange thing, because I hate to cook and just don't like to enter the kitchen for like except to boil an egg or something like that, the traditional thing, right? I'm not like, it just doesn't interest me. I know a lot of people who say cooking is very relaxing for me and all that kind of stuff. I'm not that. Are you that kind of guy?
I am that.
I
bake. So I picked up baking because it really helped me relax, take my mind off a lot of stuff. It's also very creative to figure out how it will come out. So I read up extensively about baking, picked up a couple of books, watched a lot of these videos and stuff. And one day I just started. Initially, I used to look at the recipe and make these cakes. After that, the recipes were all thrown out, and I make my own combinations of cake, and people have liked it, and I know it comes out really well. One or two will go off a little awry, and that's beautiful about it because that's the creative process. It's like making a film. Although the analogy is like really weird if you ask me.
No, it actually is right. But
I bake. I like to cook. I like to be. I'm not one of those guys who like to sit and has his meal served to him. I'm not saying that's wrong because you said you don't like to cook, but I think being in college down in Trichy, and then being by myself, you have to do that, right? So somewhere I've heard I used to call mom over the landline phones and ask her how to make this, how to make that, and slowly I learned to cook.
Right? No. In the sense that when I was away from home and all that, I did basically kind of a thing, but then I just realized that I could pretty much manage is all I could do.
Yeah.
But explain to me this. How does it relax you? Like, is it because there's a certain rhythm to it? What is this?
Yeah,
I've never got that.
Not
thing.
just borrowing you.
I can understand. Let me explain to you. Like, I can understand when people say music relaxes them, right? I can understand when people something else, but I can't understand when people say cooking relaxes them.
So I think there is a rhythm to it. I have to borrow your exact word. There is a beautiful rhythm to it.
Okay.
And so now when you're making a film, there's a process that you go through, right? At the end of which it goes out to the audience, it goes out to people like you. Never mind what comes back as feedback. Mostly it's been okay. It's not been really bad as such. But that process was beautiful.
Right.
That's what you want to do. I think now you're coming away from that to sort of create something here. You're putting together a lot of things to create something which is food, and that is being eaten by a few people, and they tell you it works, it doesn't work. That process is lovely for me. So I look at it as like when I bake these cakes, right? I've sent my cakes to a lot of people.
Okay.
When they cut and eat those slices at home, I look for their reactions, and when they tell me it works, could this have been little of this, or what chocolate did you put into this? What sugar did you put into this? Those questions I love to answer. So that process completely relaxes you. I don't have an answer beyond this to you. It does relax you to a large extent.
Does filmmaking relax you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like you're not a tense man on set?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. The building up to that, like the first day, and maybe getting into an important schedule or an important scene today. I'm not saying any scene is not important, but something tricky during 1 or 2 hours, I go into a little shell for myself because the shots are in my head and I'm writing it down. I wait and yearn for the camera to start. Once the camera starts rolling, I'm as relaxed as ever. So
Okay.
yeah.
So this is like an extension of,
Extension of that is what I look at.
or even going back, you would say something about the creative process relaxes you.
Yeah, the creative process.
Rather than it being
No,
baking.
that's it. I said
or
that. No, it's the creative process. It's
Okay.
making something. Whether it comes out well or not, that process really takes you along.
But how? Why baking in particular? The smells, because the
yeah, see, I don't drink coffee, but I love being in a coffee shop because of the smell of the coffee beans. Right, it does something to you. I feel it.
yeah.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Likewise, the smells of when the cake is getting ready, from the smell itself that it's time to pull it out and all that. There's a lot of food that's being made at home even otherwise by other people, so I didn't want to get into that zone. But in Georgia, when we were filming and the whole unit got together in the evening, I was cooking
This is
in
what,
the room.
Dhruva
Nashatram.
Nashatram.
Yeah. So we were cooking. I was cooking, with a couple of people, Munna and myself. We were all in the kitchen. We were cutting onions and making fried rice and making food for people, and we had a great time. So I love to be in that space.
So what are you having now? You're having
That's
like a chicken dish.
for me to know and for you to find out.
Yeah, no, I'm actually reading this out straight away. So it's artichoke and basil chicken roulade, I think it's called. It has mamaliga, spring vegetables, shallot, and onion sauce.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that has happened over the years is that you've become aware of a lot of ingredients, not so much the dish itself,
Yeah.
that you didn't know before, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
did you grow up on Enid Blyton books?
Yeah, I did.
So when they had all those meals,
Scones and,
midnight snacks,
Oh.
I always used to wonder what tongue sandwiches was. That was a big thing for them. Tongue
Yeah.
sandwiches.
Later, when you go to England, you figure out what tongue is, right?
What tongue is, right?
Even your black pudding. Yeah. And finally, you don't want to go even near it.
So one of the funniest things is a story told to me by a Bengali friend who kept reading about fish and chips and all these books. So he went to the local store, bought a packet of masala potato chips, went home, his mom had cooked fish, and that was his, like I had fish and chips today, so.
Makes sense.
Any other drinks, sir?
No, we're good, thank you. I'm good at least.
I'll have a little bit of the same thing actually. Yeah.
Now this dish is one of the toughest to eat with a fork and knife because it just keeps crumbling in front of my. So it's like I'm trying my best to be civilized and not do the usual thing that I do is like say, oh, I have to tell you this. See, so we're starting this new show. What do we call it? And my creative producer Avinash, who's sitting here with this big camera and like threatening me with this close-up and all that, he suggested that we were talking about something, meals, eating something. I said, let's just call it fork it or fork off. But he was not impressed. I think it's a genius name, Gautam. It's like,
I love it.
so we still don't have a name
He
for
just
this.
doesn't want to quote controversy, I think. I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's thinking ahead. We didn't. That's all.
Like a director, he's just thinking of what the censor board will say. I think what really exciting is the titles you choose for your, like guitar, kambi and melee. What is it exactly?
Guitar kambi mele nindru.
Nindra. Yeah. It makes you want to see what is this. It's like you really put a lot of thought into your titles, right?
It just comes in the air like that,
Right.
and then I just grab it.
Okay.
So it's not like it's never been a
No,
sitting
but
for
I
20
remember you
hours and
saying
thinking.
that like Tamare was singing Veteyadu Vilayadu, that song, and he said that sounded nice, and she was singing that old song Veteyadu Vilayadu or something like that, and then you got this.
No, that song came like that, and then I felt I should.
You
grab
said
it.
you
Yeah.
wanted that name. Okay. One of the foods that I can only eat by hand is a slice of pizza. I love holding it,
And do you fold the pizza and eat?
and I love warm bread. So that's
Oh, yeah.
basically.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a baker, man. You're like.
I love warm bread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just warm bread. The smell of warm bread.
Yeah.
Are you like baking things like banana bread and walnut bread
yeah.
and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like banana bread. Yes.
A person who's not real would not be able to direct that the terrace scene in Nidane and Ponvasantham the way you did. That's something that I just love so much. The way that it's so real. Reshma wrote it for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The film is written. The script is hers. Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just feel bad. I mean, there's no logic to this, that some things happen, but then later you find out that then you say something like, I don't know, I think I'm the only guy who liked Nidane and Ponvasantham. And then somebody else on Twitter can, hey, you know what, actually I liked it too. And then there'll be a number 3 who comes and says, of course, it's a small population or whatever, because for some reason that movie didn't connect. I don't know, some movies connect, some movies find their audiences later, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, no.
Like I wish it was on a OTT platform. A lot of people would have found the film.
It's not an OTT, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you now declared yourself A foodie, B a baker, are you going to have a film where the leading man or the leading lady is like a chef? You know,
why not?
natural progression, right? It would be.
Why not? And I'm thinking
Right.
I should get you right now for me. at some
No,
point.
we'll talk about that later. But tell me one thing: how did a movie like Vinay Tandi do? Like, because for me, the emotion is universal in that movie of whatever love story you're telling. But there is a certain what the industry calls a-centeredness to the telling. You know, the way the people are styled, the way they talk, the way the songs are. You believe in that at all?
No, I don't.
You don't. You think it's just an industry thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's so if a movie works, it works.
It works. Yeah.
Like, okay.
I know so many people down south, classmates of mine who studied in college, who were from places like Usilampatti and Theni, who were all in various, big organizations right now. And they've all really liked the film. So it's not like they didn't look at it as an A-center film and it's a story of a guy who dresses like this. No.
No, it doesn't
I
matter
don't think
at all.
so. It doesn't matter
right,
at all.
Right, okay. So why does the industry keep doing that then?
You ask me why, I have no idea.
Right.
Industry doesn't work really well sometimes. They don't like you, they don't like your films. And there are lots of these theories and rules, right? The A, B and C itself is divided by them only. I don't think that divide exists right now. I don't think so. It's like saying a film that works in Tamil will not work in Telugu, but we do dub our films in Telugu and those films get a big release also, right?
Right.
And the other way around also.
No, like for example, if we were to do the food equivalent of this, if we were right now having biryani and talking in Tamil, then that would be like a very different feel altogether, right?
The idea is it reaches a lot more people, I think.
Right.
But then there are lots of people who would like to, know what we're talking about, even if they don't understand a word of this. Okay, why are we not talking in Tamil and eating biryani? Though? I should ask you that. I can really eat biryani with my hands.
Yeah. We should.
And
We
talk
should.
in very
We
good
will. We
Tamil.
will do this with the next person who comes to the show, which is going to not be called Folk Off. So we will do that. But I don't know. It's like it just happened that we were at this hotel and we kind of know these people, and they said, Gautam Menon, we love his work, and then.
I'm sure you have lots of comments saying, "Yeah, Tamil pesirikalaame."
100%.
Yeah. How do you react to those things?
Nothing, I don't. It's more like if you were talking in Tamil, then நானும் தமிழ்ல பேசியிருப்பேன்.
இப்போ நான் தான்
But
பிரச்சனை.
I take the lead, right? இப்போ நீங்க தமிழ்ல பேசினா I would have talked in Tamil. But see, we have this easy back and forth in English.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, I'm a Peter. Right? That comes from my.
And you're talking to the Peter.
I don't know that, but I'm saying my schooling, the books I've read, all this kind of stuff, it comes that I also know Tamil. That's there.
I know there are a lot of people who will react to this and like this and all that, but there are a lot of people who also say, அவர் ஏன் இங்கிலீஷ்லயே பேசுறாரு?
Definitely.
தமிழ்ல பேசுறேன் பாருங்க.
Because they say that, see, there's two logic to it. One is when we talk about a film in English, then for me, one of the big things about Film Companion South is to take southern films outside South India. And this is a great time to be doing that because the southern content is really being consumed outside India.
Yeah, absolutely. Actors are getting recognized
So
outside.
people are insisting that we talk in English. They don't want to give these Telugu interviews and Malayalam interviews and this thing. I mean, they give those, but they want to come to Film Company South and give an English interview so that they get a.
இல்ல பட் நம்மளால இதுவும் பண்ண முடியும்னு சும்மா காமிச்சுக்கலாமே. பண்ணலாம்.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
தலைவா அடுத்து என்ன அப்படின்னு
We've known each other for a really long time. So because like from the time I was writing in the Express, like to now,
and the blogs
and the blog, all that kind of stuff, right? It's coming. We've known each other, right? So there is this one school which says that it's not good for film journalists and directors to know each other too well, because it's like then what happens is then I'm always going to judge you like favorably.
You always rip my films apart.
You don't have to just say that. I liked your films. What are you saying? No, but it's like,
it doesn't make a difference. We've known each other. I've shared my music with you even before the release of films.
Yeah.
I've showed you a couple of of my work before it released. But that doesn't mean I'm doing that only because I expect a favorable review from you.
Right.
No, but I don't judge. Honestly, I don't. I really don't. And that's your work. I mean, I know you're very, very ethical about your work. I know you, right?
Right.
So even to call you and say, Baddy, why did you say this? Actually, doesn't augur well.
No, actually, you've actually had an argument with me once, but the point is you were trying to figure out why I said that, rather than saying why did you say that. Like
absolutely.
you were not. It was not like how dare you say that. It was like why did you say that.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've got the how dare you say that also, right?
I've planned plenty of time. We come to the favorite part of the meal.
Yes.
The dessert. My favorite part.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you so much. You're going to find a very, very clean plate after this. This is like, I'm just going to finish every little bit of it. Thank you so much. But the point is also that there are many organizations now, even abroad, where the interviewer and the reviewer are the same person. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think that they should be different people, or it doesn't matter at all?
Give me an example.
So, like a person might interview Quentin Tarantino and also give a review of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
There's an interview and then there's a review that's put out also.
But that's how it is, right? See, ideally, I'm
you do that too, right?
And that's what I'm saying. See, I'm talking to you now. Then coming Friday, I'm going to be reviewing Navarasa, Guitar Kammi Mele Nindru. So it's like it's that's happening, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
When you got back with Surya after so long in this Navarasa episode, were you thinking this has to be really special because like we have this history and people kind of really like our work and we have to like really get back? Or were you not putting that pressure on yourself at all?
I never put the pressure on myself. For me, it was like going back home. It was comfort. It was brilliant to be on sets back with him. We did a reading of the script. We did a couple of online sessions before that.
Right.
And then we met at the office, the reading of the script. And then we talked a lot about this. So there was a lot of discussion and laughs and all that stuff about, before we went to shoot. Yes, we were worried about the COVID situation. And I know during the shoot, there was a COVID scenario at home, at his place and all that. So he was a little tense and all that. But in spite of that, so much of effort went into, every line, every expression. It's a musical. Mine is like it's got 4 or 5 songs in it, right?
Yeah, there's a jukebox and all that, right?
Yeah. So he really got that, and he had to train to play the piano for a bit and learn to play the guitar and all that. So it was like going back home for me. From work, I was actually going back home. And I told him that. He also told me it's like the best set experience in a very long time for him, he said. And I felt the same way too, So I didn't take the pressure of making a Kaka Kake again, because this is not that. This is a very conversational at the same time.
No, but I think you've done Kaka Kaka was an action film. You've done Varanamayiram, which is a very different kind of film with him, in the sense that it's a very very emotional film. And I think I've told you this before, that every time I see one of my favorite songs from your films, and it's really hard to pick a favorite song from your film, is Anal Mele Panituli. I just that song just kills me every time I hear it. And the way you show him, because now he's kind of had his big explosive breakdown and he's recovered from the trauma and he finds peace with this new person. the way the lyrics and the music and the filming, everything just happens.
Yeah.
That whole passage, because it starts with almost like a meeting, and it ends with the baby, and it's an entire couple of years of this man's life condensed into one beautiful song, which is something that I think I mentioned this to you earlier as well. I really like the way you film your songs as montages over time, because even that in Yene Arindal, the song Marivara Pugde, where Ajit and Trisha kind of get to know each other.
Yeah.
That's again a passage of time,
Yeah.
but you kind of really condense that. So I think when you say like this is a musical, I think that's interesting, because it's like you obviously have this.
I was going to tell you that I didn't want to make a Kaka Kaka with him. I wanted to make something on the lines of Varanam only. Actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it's not the exact thing, but in terms of the mood and everything. It's about two people who meet and connect, and I wanted the audience to feel that emotion. We were making a film about love, Shringara / attraction.
Right.
The other films also, I'm saying courage and peace and disgust and all that. The idea was for the audience to feel that. Here, from frame one, I wanted the audience to feel an attraction with what they're seeing on screen.
Right.
Which is why I was so keen that PC sir, shoots this. And I wanted them to feel the vibe and the attraction that these two also, feel with each other. The characters, my protagonists, I'm saying, the two of them. So it's almost like a day. It's an evening of conversation and the vibe and filled with a lot of music.
Right.
And then I cut to many years later, and are they together or not? So that's all.
So where did you find Pragya Rose Martin?
Prayaga.
Sorry.
Prayaga, yeah. These days it's all Instagram, right? You look up to find out. I have a good team with me. So they suggested, there's this girl. What do you think? Like, from many other pictures and stuff. I just got on a call and I spoke to her and I said, I'd like to meet you. Can you come over? And all that. She came over. And we just felt the connect. Everybody felt, this will work. And throughout the rehearsals and the readings and all, she was very different from what she is in the film. In fact, at one point I was even wondering, how am I going to play this character? Because there's a line that I can cross and keep her in that zone. And during readings and rehearsals, she was not there at all.
Right.
But she got all the lines right. She's not Tamil speaking naturally, but she got all the lines right, and we made sure of that. And there's some tricky sequences where there's a lengthy bike sequence. And it's got to be filmed in one stretch, and they have to know the lines. It has to be, packed like that. But when we turned the camera on with her for the first time in the studio shot, she did something. She gave me an expression, the way she looked at Surya. And even PC sir looked at me, and from there I grabbed the meter and I went on. Okay. Now meter is a very filmy term, but I grabbed that.
The pitch or whatever.
Yeah, I grabbed that. Till then I had no idea how I'm going to, and I've never done what I did with her in this film, in any other film with my heroines. I've never touched those zones as yet.
You mean she set the
tone for that, I'm saying.
Okay.
She set the mood. Because I was still constantly, I'm not saying confused, I always draw from the actors, but I wanted a pitch in my head. She hit that a little more actually, and then from there on, Right. So even PC sir asked me, is this attraction or is this lust or what is it, he asked me. I said, so you call it whatever you want, but I love it, I said.
Yeah, but the Shringara is everything, right?
Yeah,
it's like
it is,
so...
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So did you feel like, I'm known for my love films and they call me for a love film. Why aren't you letting me do Courage or something like that?
No, actually they let us pick, I think.
Oh, you picked this?
Yeah, I picked this, yeah.
Okay. So did you get to have your Ureadal and stuff with Mani Ratnam about your script? Or was he not concerned with...
No. We had to send all the scripts in.
So he and Jayendra were kind of...
Yeah, they must have looked at it because they just said go ahead. The films were submitted to him, the first edit, first cut. And that message he sent me will be with me forever.
What does that tell? You can't just leave it like that.
I think it's a very personal thing. I don't like to, people think I'm showing off and stuff.
No. It's okay. If you can't do that, it's fine. What happened to Ureadal and stuff, by the way? You did. No, this is fine, but this is the show that shall not be called 4K. We don't have a... Where is... What is happening to Ureadal and stuff?
So I think after I spoke to Mani sir, I said to myself, okay, now I've done it all.
Right.
But I will be talking to a few more people very soon.
You enjoy that?
I loved it, yeah.
Is it the fact that, like, as a filmmaker, you get to explore, like, what is it that
I wanted to be in a very real space. We're not trying to do any, which I'm okay with. I was not trying to do any gimmicks and games and stuff like that. I spoke to Dhanush and it was beautiful. It was really nice.
Right.
I got to know about him. And when I spoke to Anushka, she spoke so much. I felt one calm throughout that. And somewhere I just, requested, a text was sent to Mani sir, and I asked somebody who works with him, who's been with him forever, can I, get to talk to him? And Pat came the reply saying, yes, when do you want to do it? It was like how you must have felt while, writing, it was like that. And it was beautiful learning for me, and we got to talk. I got him talking a bit. And I also, like a fanboy, I asked him a few things about Nayagan and a lot of other things.
Right.
I've got a few people in mind to pick that up with, I did ask Kamal sir before the elections whether we can talk through his team, and they didn't respond.
Okay. So yeah, that would be kind of nice to have that pick up again, because I mean, dude, they got some phenomenal viewership as well. So
Coming from you, I'll take that as a big compliment.
no. I'll tell you why.
done
Because
that extensively, right?
See, for example, the one that I did before Kartivale Day was a technical interview. So that he's fine. Like how do you decide a shot? How do you decide what do you tell Rajiv Menon? That's his zone.
Yeah.
So that was an easy not easy, but that was a easier thing. The one you did was more casual stuff, and I've actually never done a casual interview with Mani Ratnam at all, because it's like, one was the book, which is all technical stuff, and again this again was on video, but again more about how do you decide the shot, where do you place the camera, this, that, and all that, which is his zone, and which is more than willing to talk about. But to get to your zone, where you're riddling and stuffing, that's like really, it's not easy.
Wow.
And especially with people like these that Anushka does not give interviews. Mani Ratnam is how he is. Dhanush again does not give too many interviews where he is so open.
Correct.
and stuff like that. So I
We
think
got him to sing and all that.
and I think it's also because you have that, because you're both in the same field, whereas supposing I'm sitting opposite a film industry person within the industry, there's always going to be that bit of friction, not friction, but you know what I mean. It's like he's going to ask me questions, and I've got to be a little careful about how I answer them. Whereas with you, probably there's a little more like we're both in the same industry, we're both kind of doing this.
Yeah.
So thank you for inaugurating our.
Oh, this is the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, that's
Now I understand why the discussion is going on about the name and everything. Right?
Yeah.
I thought you might have shot a couple of sessions.
No, we don't. This is the first, and because it's Navarasa and rasa is also taste, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So like taste, meal, all those kinds of.
Okay. You brought the analogy.
Yeah, so. I got all that together, and we kind of decided.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, we just be asking you. So Gautam, what is it like to kind of direct a movie for Mani Ratnam? It's just like we've done that, so we just thought let's have this. Yeah. This is a nice flower between us.
Oh gosh.
And it's like we should not have been there, or maybe we shouldn't. I don't know why. but then
speaking about the analogy, the one thing that I didn't mention here was this whole Navarasa. Once it came to us, Shringara, the script. It's not a script. It's like I built moments between the two of them across the day.
Right.
And I wanted the audience to, people who see it and people who experience it, I wanted them to experience those moments. But for me, everything was built around one Raja Sir song, based on which we made a song.
Right.
It was a song based on which, it was a tune, it was an interlude from Raja Sir's song, based on which we had made a song and kept, and I built this entire script around that one song. So sometimes, you realize that this man continues to inspire you in some way or the other, his music, I'm saying, so.
It's like I always have this argument with.
And the song is from Mani Ratnam's film also, so it just works.
So it's just like circular kind of a thing. So yeah. Looking forward to Navarasa, and
I hope you like it. It's not in the usual format, and I didn't want to make it in the usual format, so I hope you like it. I think it's the first time a short, like a 40-minute short, which is part of an anthology, will have so much of music in it. I've randomly, looked at a lot of other stuff. Nothing has so much of music in it, So I hope that all that will work. And it's a really nice Surya that you will see. I don't have to sell it to you, right? That's what you're thinking?
Yeah, you don't have to sell this to me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this thing already. So this is like you getting back with Surya. Do you feel that? Thank you so much. Did you feel that being an actor has made you a better director? Can you sense anything different?
No. No. Being an actor is not going to make me a better director because I've already been there. I've done that.
No, in terms of dealing with performers or something like that, has it helped
No,
you
I
see
always
something?
knew it's not an easy job to be in front of the camera to act, you know.
Right.
Because when I do this, I realize
Right.
that I was right. So I always give them that space. I don't go and rush them or say I don't get irritated with them.
Yeah.
That never happens. Because when I do this, I realize it's not easy. You have to completely lose inhibitions. You have to be directed. You have to like switch on at that particular point and be in one zone. Not easy at all.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be behind and then direct and okay, it's not easy. But
Yeah.
if you compare at that particular moment, I'm saying. So thank you.
Thank you, Gautam. Thank you so much.
Loved it.
Yep.
And the food.
Thank you.